child and Valoran has heard the tale before about the cursed mummy boy who felt his heart no more. So sad and lorn, the helpless lad, Amumu was his name. He ventured out to find a friend and learn about his bane. For many years, young Amumu traveled through the lands, determined to make friends if only they would understand. But even when Amumu stood upon the ledge of home, his hope would disappoint him and he would remain alone. But then the curse began to whisper in his ear and would confirm what was Amumu's biggest fear. It pledged that never shall someone become his friend. It pledged that he shall be alone until his end. But sorrow and despair became too much to bear. The moment when Amumu realized what he had done, too late it was for him, for them, the evil curse had won. The anger and the anguish overwhelmed his fragile soul and caused a wicked tantrum that he never could control.
Wanna join me? Come and play, but I might shoot you in your face. Bombs and bullets will do the trick. What we need here is a little bit of panic. Do you ever wanna catch me? Right now I'm feeling ignored. So can you fight to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last line. Hearing voices from afar, join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we defy. A solar ray of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last line. Can we bring to fall the giants?
Okay, so today we have a game of TNN versus Ape. I am one of your casters, Jay, joined by my other caster, TSM, and we are having this streamed by Zeph. Okay, so currently, I believe that TNN have won a few games. Well, has Ape won a few games if you're aware of TSM?
They won. Ape won their last week, like their last week playoff against PhD. They are quite equal in scoring, as in like the regular season scoring, if you
Yep.
compare them to PhD and TNN. But I think they went 3-3 against the other teams, where TNN went 3-2. So they basically have the better record.
Oh, that's good to know because I wasn't keeping up with the scores too much. I was keeping up with some of the gameplay, but I didn't know the exact scoring. So I thought it was all good to us just keep everyone up to date on that. Right now, we have a good lineup. I know for a fact that the TNN have pulled a few, shall we say, strings, and they have managed to get in one of the older players back. And we do now have Pilgrim as ADC, I believe. And yeah, so that should be part of the lineup for them. They've also got Sachi, I believe, who should be mid side. Liwu, who was a substitute, was subbing for mid at some point, I think in previous games. He's actually now going to be the support, I believe. And you will have Dust as jungle, and you will have Angon, which is control mage, as top side. And I think that's a pretty strong lineup from my understanding of that team, which I am technically sub for, but I don't really participate too much in the gameplay itself. We do see on the side of Ape, we've got Wichi as the top side. I think he's not too bad. He's a bit. I don't think you see him as well as you do as their ADC, who's more prominent. And I do believe like that's what they're going to be fighting for more on the bot side, on the side of Ape. I think they really want to put most of it on that side of the map. I think that is one of their strongest players next to Bold Primate. He is actually, I think, a really good addition with his ADC. And I've not really seen Janskate or Vince too much either, but I think they've got a good bot side going, but so does the side of TNN. What do you think about it, TSM?
I'm pretty excited for both. The what I'm seeing from TNN is different,
Mm,
as in a couple people swapped or position-wise maybe switched around a bit. Ape look to be playing with their regular somewhat lineup.
mm.
So basically same old for them. Yeah, definitely a expected focus on bot side. Both team have their somewhat, I mean, maybe their best player or just most valuable player on bot side on ADC. So interested to see how either Pilgrim or Lewandowski plays it out, and whoever of the two get a lead. Maybe other lanes like top lane Wichi or control mage abuser on TNN can, I don't know, run run around and do a lot of disruptive stuff from top side. Yeah, really looking towards either team just really
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
playing it slow
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
yeah, looking to really close out the series, give a strong showing at least, because it's playoffs.
That is true. That is true. If people aren't aware, these are the playoff semi-finals, and then afterwards, well, we'll see what happens really, because it's yet to be decided. I think isn't this the first playoffs? I believe, isn't that correct?
For current split, yes.
Mm,
Although for Ape, it's the first entirely. Ape is a somewhat new team to no, sorry, they're actually a new team since this split. For the TSC, TNN is returning, of course, but yeah, second series. Last
nice.
week was PhD Ape. Now we have TNN Ape because Ape won the series last time, and yeah, I'm interested to see who can actually beat the other.
Yeah, yeah. It's 1-3, 1-3. So
Hmm.
you would hope that whoever wins this game, I think shows. I don't know if it's going to be more of like a 50-50 because obviously a 1-3, 1-3, you think it'd be all the way, but if you look at statistics and you look at the ranks and everything else, and you see across the board, TNN, I believe, should be favored. I think we discussed a little bit beforehand, and you also believe that it was, I think, TNN more favorable. I'm not
Hmm.
too sure by how much percentage. I think we did a few discussions. I think you're saying like 60-40 or a bit lower, but I think like they still got a good top side going. I think that they might win that top side battle. I think so. I do still think their strongest like player or
Hmm.
players are on the bot side. But I think Wichi has the advantage over um, Control Mage. That is the
Yeah,
problem. I think that they do have a more dedicated top laner, whereas he is more of an all rounder. He can go to like a different lane, he can play others, but that's the problem there. He's not focused on the one point where he should be, which is what you would hope for. But like that's the thing about Control Mage. He's a bit of a substitute player and also part of the main roster at the same time because if they need him, they'll swap around a lot because he's very versatile. But that
hmm
means you can't be a master of everything is the problem. So we're not all faker. So I do think that they might have a good lead topside.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely chances. I think I would give a slight advantage to TNN, but honestly, seeing Ape last week, still a pretty good showing, like quite solid. So
Yeah.
definitely a chance for them to. I mean, if they bring their A game,
Mm.
I do expect a good series, like at least 1-1 game, or at least Ape being able to take a game off of TNN. That's definitely on the table, if you ask me.
No, I agree with you thoroughly. I mean, the last time I was casting for TNN, oh god, I mean, it was me and Zeph, and lucky right now he's not able to like do two jobs at once. But I don't think I was able to breathe at some points, just due to the factors like it was constant fighting. Whether or not it was a good decision, that was up to you can see the results. And sadly, TNN they just played themselves. Unfortunately, you saw it in the top side with the Mordekaiser. Unfortunately, it was really strong early. And then I think everyone across the ball was not doing too bad early. There's a few hiccups here and there, but it came more towards the mid side of the game where things for TNN really go stale, really go sideways. So I want to see a good change. I want to see a strong early. I want to transition to a strong mid and then finish strong because that's what TNN really lack. They have a good early and it falls off hard around the mid and they give the game away to the enemy team. And that's the most frequent sort of like, I don't know, I think it's just I don't know what happens, but I think it's like a complacency or a relaxed state where they just end up thinking, oh, we're really good, and they try and do some things here and there that are risky. But this isn't the old League of Legends where in season 6 and 7 you could do those things and you could 1v5 and as well as you could do these days. If you give away a lead, you're giving away like the whole game at this point. So around the mid to late game is where it really matters more. So that's why I always say that the laning stage doesn't matter too much as long as you're not throwing it and running it down and you're all 0-10. So as long as you don't give too much early, you can really make a comeback towards mid and late game, which have been shown all the time when TNN are facing any opponent because they always bring it back to mid to late game.
Yeah, no, agree. Like that's the current state of the game. Is definitely, it's not a 1v5 possibility. Like some champions kind of have the strength to actually do that, but
Yeah.
out of all, what is it, close to 170, I think
Yeah.
5 champions late game actually might be able to 1v5 the game. All the others just can't. You're just not strong enough, and everybody still is involved in a game when you're playing. If you're throwing away a lead, or at least if you're making bad decisions, possibly macro decisions, or just for no reason at all forcing a fight and actually losing it, you are giving up your lead, and might as well give the enemy team a possibility to get back in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's happened before. We've seen it happen again. We might see it happen again. Hopefully not. But that's a thing of the past, and I hope that the new roster changes. I mean, there's a small change I think on the side of APE we said, but there's more bigger changes on the side of TNN's lineup. And regarding that lineup, I think with the like added involvement of Dust in the jungle and having Ang on top, you take away a few risky factors. So Angon can be a bit risky factor. Like he does like to commit a lot, and that's the good thing about Man Thing as well. I think I don't remember his IGN, but he was the top laner. He was the Mordekaiser. He was really good early. Like I've got no issues with him. He's really good. He's committed. You saw his strong plays on Thresh. I loved it. It was beautiful. But he's a bit too aggressive. You know, there's a bit of tunnel visioning happening, and it's a bit of a risky factor. Like he's really good, and I don't doubt his like micro gameplay at all. There's a bit too much tunnel vision going on. It's not enough awareness on that map. So I think we take away a bit of a risk, and you do lower that chances top side a bit. Agon isn't the strongest top laner that I think TNN have overall, but he is a bit more map aware. And I think that's going to kind of really help that mid game out because he's not really known to run it down or anything. And he's not probably going to be the best in terms of matchup to top. But I think overall it's a bit safer play overall. And I know that Dust, I believe, is a newer addition as well to TNN, and he's got a bit of understanding of okay, I can really rely on these guys. The work that I need to do is literally jungle and look for the opportunities that they're going to give me. So I think that they're a really good addition to the side of TNN, and as well the return of Pilgrim, who's always been a strong favorite on TNN, which was previously known as a different name. Which was I think Supdiff, I think was it, or was it I forget the exact name of the
Previous team, yeah,
yeah, I think was it Supdiff?
previous seasons it was support diff, yeah.
Yeah. So I think because he's been part of that, like myself, and even yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Pilgrim was always a favorite, regardless of where he was. Like he was, I think, an ADC main, but he could really do quite well in other lanes as well. But I think him focusing on that one lane particularly has kind of solidified his gameplay and really helped his micro because his micro wasn't that bad at all. And that really helped him out transition to later lane. And even his micro wasn't subpar, but it didn't really put him above anyone else when you keep transitioning from other lanes to like, jungle's got a different understanding of what has to happen, as well as mid, as well as ADC. So to see him go back to his main role, I think you're going to see, hopefully see a really strong bot side. And I think that even though Team Ape want to maybe put all the priority or the main priority bot, I think they might actually want to focus a bit more top to mid, because if you're gonna keep like winning in a lane, you abuse it to the point where you got something to go off of. So you're going to have something early. So you're going to have to like either know that you can do a 3v3 or get a potential 3v2 on the bot side, or you have to go top.
Yeah. No, I mean that makes sense. Like if both teams hard focus on one lane,
Yep.
we might see it first game because
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. That's the usual style for both Ape and TNN. They're focused on bot lane and actually making you're using the bot lane to win their game.
Yep.
If one or if the losing team from first game actually changes their plan and looks to get their top or mid lane ahead, basically getting them a lead bigger than the enemy bot lane,
Yep.
there's a very good chance of them still beating the other team's plan in terms
Yeah.
of if you can't really beat them at the same or at the same job, might as well change it up and try to use a different approach to actually, I mean, basically pick a dive comp, pick
Yeah.
anything that really hard stomps or locks down the enemy ADC. What are they gonna do? Like if you're putting all your money on the ADC and he dies in the fight, there's a very good chance you're still actually winning it if you play it out well.
Yeah. Well, we're into the bans right now and also the picks, well as it works. So it looks like Ape has really gone for the Nivea ban as well as Ezreal. The Vladimir are a bit too not understanding why they banned Vlad here. I don't think Sachi plays Vlad unless it's
Mm,
to focus on Angon here. But I
I
know
think it
that
is, yeah.
Ezreal ban is particularly targeted towards Pilgrim, but that's just because of he's very more used to that one champion. I say he's not like horribly bad in the others, but like when you have a champion you got your main, you got your two others that are kind of just close enough, and then you got your two other ones that can just those five champs are really going to get you those like overall sort of wins in ranked, and even playing like in these games as well. So we do see that he has gone for a Jinx Norse's bot side for the side of TNN, and they do have a Zac. We don't know what that Zac's going just yet because Zac is one of those universal champions. He can go to jungle, it can go top side, and he can also go support right now, and potentially you can play it mid. So it can go to 4 different lanes. But unlike Rel, she did get nerfed and can no longer be played in the
Sure.
jungle area. So she should predominantly be their support. So it does take Zac away from that support side at least. So we can know he's going to either be top or jungle right now. Don't think we're going to see him mid.
Very interesting choices from Ape actually. Like the possibly that might be fasting, might be farming Senna, combined with I expect Rel, because I don't see Rel jungling anymore. Like you said, the jungle changes actually kind of took her out of jungle. Your
Mm,
current clear is not what you want. Very
no.
lacking in damage. It's just not good anymore. TNN are kind of on a similar, I mean, very different pace. Jinx Nautilus combined with now the Nico for likely mid lane could be
Yeah, I'd say
flexed,
that
could
would be
be not.
Sasachi. Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
on that one.
like both pretty good, or no, TNN actually with the hyper carry as well as a lot of good setup, good defense, maybe frontline even from the Nautilus. Ape with possibly fasting Senna and a lot of engage, so good dive potential.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that they did do some changes with Senna's passive, so it doesn't really work tremendously as well as it used to do. Like you used to gain so many more soul points if you just will go, I'm gonna go support style Senna, and you have a Tom Kench with you. So you may not see it as much these days, but it still can be played. It's just not as gonna be as common because they did try and change it so Senna wasn't being completely abused and was no longer where she shouldn't be played is the way. So Riot
Mm.
have made some alterations, and they were a few patches ago now for certain champions. But we do see that Sachi's bringing up the Nico again, which was a bit of a favorite of mine to see. As always, it is a bit of a horror show because it's like similar to Nocturne, but instead of having a full macro sort of ultimate, it's the fact that no matter where it's going, someone's going to be, overly thinking, where are they? Are they in the lane? Is it going to be this blast cone? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? It's a very paranoid champion to play against, and you can become overly paranoid playing against it. So I love to see the element, to be honest. It's a really nice thing to see. Just strike the fear into your enemies globally, just because everyone has to count the wave if you don't see it mid once. It's one of those
Mm.
obnoxious champions.
Yeah, like definitely a chance if Chachi uses it as well as just backs and really tries to use the passive, or it's not the passive, the stealth and clone mechanic from Nico to gank a lane.
Yeah.
People will have to be aware of it because if you're not aware, if you notice too late, you are very much getting lane ganked, and Nico might as well be in melee range from you
Yeah, that
with
is
the
true.
ulti. Yeah, really,
Yeah.
really good dive or gank potential so far. They added the Wukong, which really
Mm.
combines well with Nico, and still good peeling, or at least team fight for
Do
TNN
see an
side.
Ari mid here though, so that does give them potential for those good rotations on roam as well. So
Mm.
they do answer Nico quite well. So if they do need to go somewhere quite quickly, you got the REW, which does have that speed increase, but generally her ultimate, which is either going to be a good engage and disengage as well. So overall, it's actually I think a pretty not too horrible answer for the Nico pick. But you do have to land those charms, otherwise she is not as relevant as people think because Ari, she does have good wave clear, she does have good damage, but those charms really do prove vital when the chips are down. So if you're not going to land those charms, there are other champions out there because they do have a fairly good strong engage comp. So Talia would have been a fantastic pick here, and there's been no bans for it. So I think they kind of had a bit of a wasted opportunity on the side of Ape. But I don't think you see many people playing that champion, but you do see a lot of Ari picks recently. So overall, not bad as well. They put up the Olaf, and you assume that's top side, and also the Tom Kench as well. So
Mm-hmm.
we should be seeing Tom top, Wukong jungle, Nico mid, Nauta support, and Jinx ADC on the side of TNN. And for Ape, we should see Olaf top, we should see Ari mid, Zac jungle, Senna, and Rel bot side. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this matchup so far?
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, the Olaf for Ape side is actually a blind pick because TNN didn't have or haven't picked their top laner yet. I expect with their pick so far. They added the Tam Kench, which is a lot of focus on the 1v1 actually, not really similar in terms of the team fight focus from the rest of the team. I'm liking both. No, I'm actually liking both the lineups for both teams. I
Mm,
think both have a very good team fight focus, although TNN might take the edge in terms of three really good team fighting champions with the Nautilus, Nico, and Wukong. Ape have a bit more of a big comp with the Ari as well as Sek jumping in, Rel engage potential. They're quite similar, but
mm.
I'm not quite interested to see how both teams are going to play. I expect 5v5 and objective fights. That's all that's clear so far.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, apart from a few rotational roams as well, I mean, if Sachi can pull off the Nico plays, or it really does depend on how they abuse those lane states really and how they can push. So it's going to rely a bit on the junglers and also the understanding of just the waves and just the overall sort of early potential of each champion. So Ari wouldn't really have much going on early until about 6 to match rotations unless she wants to do an early roam with a W. Olaf is going to be really good in countering most of any form of CC, and they do have a bit here and there. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's apart from the knockups, he will kind of be able to just kind of run through it all until he presses R. So we do have a bit of delay until we get into the game as well. But I think potentially right now, I would say TNN. I like the matchup a lot. You've got, as we talked about, we've got the Nautilus and Jinx. It's actually not the worst in the world. I would prefer to see an enchanter particularly with a Jinx, like say for example either Lulu, Melio, Janna, still really strong as well,
Hmm.
but it's not horrible. You're adding more frontline, but you have to make sure you're not abandoning Jinx. So it really relies on either protecting her or Jinx kind of joins, say, the back line as she normally would do. She would generally join the mid to front area. There's potentially pathing and spacing, positioning has to be very on point. Otherwise, they're really going to walk through those tanks and try and target them as fast as they can do. So you want to see that Zac, the Rail, the Olaf, they really want to come and die for her. Senna be at the back line, and you'll see Ari at the midline on the side of Ape. So I think they're going to try and pick off the Nico and Jinx if they overstep and play wrong. But I think if they get a good lead with Wukong, you're going to see that TNN will really roll over Ape. But if you see a good like Zac like looking for topside and really getting Olaf ahead and really putting Ari on the board, you're going to see Ape get that win that they need. So it really just depends on how they play this game properly, where those opportunities lie. And I think, the main thing, as you said, it will boil down to more the team fights and the objectives. And that's what I'm hoping will actually happen, because I remember last time, that's not what happened at all. So hopefully
Yeah.
this time we will see the right sort of fights and the right, me talking for the right reasons instead of consistently fighting for things that weren't really supposed to be happening, and that just kind of led to a bit of a disparity, unfortunately. So hopefully we're going to see exactly what we want to see, and predictions a bit more on point for the side that is going to be winning, but you never know. It's always unpredictable with these players, so time will tell, really.
Yeah, definitely agree. I think like looking at the teams, both don't have the highest amount of damage. Jinx is the only real hyper late game carry. If I'm really looking at like damage or scaling, Senna also has really good scaling, but with the builds, it's usually a bit more lethality focused.
Yeah.
So like not an actual crit hyper carry or anything in that sense.
No, yeah.
I'm really liking the Olaf pick after seeing almost the entire enemy team. If you use the ghost as well as the ulti, nobody's gonna stop you from getting onto the Jinx and potentially even killing her. Really picking away at the damage that TNN can do to you in the fights.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we should hopefully see a good game, and we should be starting very soon to pick up from that delay on spectating. I don't know. It's really up to the players at this point. I mean, we hope they got some good practice in over the week or so. And yeah, we just hope for the best. I do think, though, that we should see something particularly interesting on the side of TNN, because as you said, Senna, again, isn't going to be that sort of hyper carry focus. It doesn't have the attack speed that Jinx has, doesn't have the ability to shred those tanks. I think that's going to be the main point. It does do damage, that is no issue there, but I don't think it's going to cut through as well as they maybe hope to have done. So I think maybe Senna may be a bit lacking, but does have rail to back him up, does have good engage, does have good range as well, and does incredible scaling as well. So if the game does last long enough, you're going to see Senna do really well. Does do fairly good turret damage as well. So yeah, so we should be seeing that game very shortly on the stream. Oh, perfect. So we're currently in the game right now, and they have to see this on the YouTube stream as well. Okay, so we do see that the side of TNN is going for an early invade here. It is going to look to be a just a bit of an attempt to get that vision down onto that blue side from what I can see. But other than that, everyone is going back to the respective lanes. No initial fighting. We do see Weechi doing a few trades with the Tom Kench here. As I said here, that Weechi would be a bit stronger in that top side area, and everyone else is going back to the respective lanes. But that's what you expect from an Olaf. You use a bit of initial poke. Don't want to do too much. I think we saw from one team particularly, there was overly trading. I think it was an Olaf, or was it a different game I watched myself. But yeah, if you throw those axes too far, you're going to be playing him a bit too aggressively, especially this early, and you might pay the price for it on Olaf.
Yeah, I like the hard engage, or at least very aggressive invade from red side from TNN. Really getting their 5-manning walk in on the blue buff, taking control, getting the ward down. Very good answer from Ape as well, getting our 3-man invade back on the enemy blue. Knowing where the entire enemy team is, you can do whatever you want, and in this case Ape decided to get Vision back and get a lot of knowledge on the enemy jungler.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we do see that Wukong has started top side for that red buff, and we do see Zac is slowly encroaching that bot, so he might go for an early gank, which is actually pretty good. They're going to hopefully allow TNN to push into them, see that Zac potentially get to be level 3, and then just go for a nice early... Well, we're seeing a lot of a lot of fighting topside, and we do see Leewood going in with the Q. They do hit level 2 first. They are a bit too deep as well. Zach does not go for a early or level 2 gank at all. He doesn't even hit level 3 yet. He doesn't go for the Raptors until now. So we are seeing a bit of trading topside. It looks like they are favoring top early, and then bot side is also favored on the TNN side. I do think they are a bit more in the advantage in terms of skill. We do see Dust here going for an early gank here. Oh, the Sachi does go a really nice route down, and do they get the kill? And it does go first blood to Nico. Really well played, and there was a bit of a waste of a flash. I do think that Dust could have gone through the wall there and then cut through the lane a bit. So it does feel like flash was a bit wasted, but nonetheless, they did get first blood, and it was nicely played overall.
Yeah, better safe than sorry though. Like you don't
Yeah.
really don't want to give back a kill when you're really the one aggressing the gank, like starting the gank.
No,
I'm
yeah,
also
yeah.
seeing the farming on Senna, by the way. So for everyone watching, it's gonna be a farming Senna instead of fasting, and Senna will get all the CS. Rel will be on normal, like normal support economy. So not a lot of big tank items quite early in the game.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of damage from Sachi early on. I mean, he's only got Amplifying Tome as well as the starting item that he's gone for, but he is doing a surprise amount of burst damage as well. That was a half HP to the Ari, and he's only level 3. He's actually behind a level to the Ari as well. But it just makes such a difference just having one extra item, and Nico is known for doing those pop combos in terms of just burst damage. So I think that we're going to see a really strong Sachi this game if he just doesn't do the old TNN special. I do believe that we're going to see this be more focused around him early, getting him that good lead, because you can leave Jinx alone for a while. If they're winning this early, as you can see right now they are, and doing quite well as well, you don't really need to force anything down here. They're really just avoiding the turret plays, so they're not diving them too much. But if you want to see any sort of action, it looks like there's going to be a lot more around the mid side and some trading on the side lanes, it looks like so far.
Yeah, possible mid gank with the Zac there, but noticing what he's doing,
Well, he does go in for it as well, and Nico does split off and then use a clone. So it was an okay attempt. Oh, he does get the root down. He does go for another kill, and the charm does land, but he ends up paying the price. Zac, unfortunately, just a bit of a statue, just froze and doesn't seem to have contemplated what was going on there. And then as soon as he jumps in, walks away, he hesitates, and then just watches his mid laner in despair, just losing the 1v1 again, just so close to their turret. It looks like that the side of APE is playing too far away from their turret this early on. I mean, you really want Ari to hit 6. I mean, you really want to position properly, especially into a Nico. You want to try and feint out those roots as well, because they're going to hit you. They're going to hit you hard, especially with a kill lead, and now a 2-kill lead. Has gone for a recall, does get Dark Steel as well, and another Tome at the same time. So that damage is going to keep stacking more and more as kills and assists keep coming. So you're going to see a really strong mid laner here, and it's just going to only get worse for the side of APE when TNN, especially Sachi, keeps abusing Nico's transformation ability.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Wukong just secured the grubs. No info, or at least as the Spectre, the viewer showed no info for APE, or no vision at all from the grub take, so free to take it there. Zac was bot side, possibly attempting a gank, but didn't end up going for it. Now we see Wukong walking towards Dragon, and possibly securing both early objectives for TNN. Pretty big, or at least very smart. Like how they're trying to execute it, but also just well played.
I agree.
And using bot lane pressure now, as well as...
No, Rel has engaged here. It was like the right call, the wrong call. Oh, Zac does do a nice Drake steal here, but does it kind of cost too much for that? Is that really the question here? So he does go for a 3rd kill this early on. That is going to be a blow to the side of APE. They do end up picking up Dust at the same time. Pilgrim does join this fight a little bit late. He's not 6, so he couldn't join for the whole part of his R at all. They do take out Zac passive. They are doing a 2v1 on the Ari. They should get a free kill here. Leewood could be a bit more aggressive. Maybe he's just waiting for his cooldown on his W and his E. And they do pick off Zac. Jinx gets a double kill. Does use her excited passive and does try and chase down that Senna. Does end up landing the CC ability, but is it overstepping? Is it overly aggressive? Liu is nowhere near. Oh, does use the Hex Flash and does use the Q. Lands well, does get the ADC out, but pays the price for it instead. The Pilgrim, again, is playing too aggressively, too early, I remember didn't recall yet because you only just picked the double kill. So they should get some resets in. Otherwise, they're paying for the price for getting those kills actually, instead of being in a more advantaged position.
Yeah, really good fight on the objective. Zac actually ends up stealing the dragon as well, but the fight after, I think, pretty much, yeah, looks like it's going towards TNN with Jinx getting most of the kills.
Yeah.
Actually getting up. She really did overextend, trying to get the Senna as a last kill as well. But yeah, Nautilus joining in, actually getting punished for it, and now slowly returning to what are usual lane states.
I think the issue there was that the Nautilus was too focused on those wards and he just didn't join at the right time and then had to go in and end up paying the price. So if Nautilus actually was going in earlier, preemptively just waiting at the right point and then Hex flashed in, landed the overall sort of AA, which will hit the passive and then roots him down naturally, follows up with a Q or vice versa, the center would have paid the price for it, but it just wasn't properly executed and they ended up paying the price and ended up having to save the ADC and the bounty and pay with his own life. So it overall was a good play. I really do like Dust on this Wukong. He did take the early top side objectives. He got those Grump. He did sneak in because they did have the early Herald. So that was the only vision they did have. But it wasn't enough really until you actually get the vision on it, especially against something like a Wukong or a Graves. You can just slip in and out of those walls quite nicely. So we are going back to those lanes. And we do see a roll top side. They do want to take these second grubs just because you don't want to lose them over and over again. That is the problem.
No, you'd really want to contest at least the second take of grubs to not give away 5 or 6 of the grubbies to the enemy team. Once they have those, they get the extra small grubs when you're pushing a tower, which deals a lot of extra damage. It's just free advantage in terms of tower pushing, and having the Jinx already, that is a very good tower pusher.
This should be a really nice setup to get another kill here on that Jinx as well. Not just doing lovely tanking, and does pop the R. It does look like we ends up dying for this, but again, it does end up look like the Nautilus took this kill actually instead, which is unfortunate. Jinx has a passive off it, but unfortunately it was due to the assist. So when I saw that passive just pop, I thought, oh wow, they got the kill, but then I just re-looked and I was like, oh, this I went to Nautilus, so it completely went out the window and they get center a kill instead. So it's not what we want to see whatsoever. And Nuka does a rotation down, but it was just a bit too soon or too late in any regard, and they just didn't seem to have the communication there. Dust is going in, and this is a very, very interesting play. It's a 2v3 situation. They are actually playing it really well. That is a really good R from the Tom Kench. They do get a kill here, but this is a very conflict play, and the Earth does flash over, does use R, and has burn flash as well as Ghost to just get through and take out Dust. So this was a very greedy play for the side of TNN. This is what keeps happening to the side of TNN. They do have a good early, and around the end of the mid game they do throw, and this is that angle where they are throwing, and they did have a 2 to 3k gold lead, and now it's only around a 1k gold lead. So they are doing the classic TNN special, and hopefully they don't give too much more away.
Really, like it really looks like they're just like the tower dive on bot lane. Actually, they're taking fight, or at least hard forcing fights where they don't really have the advantage or just the possibility to really go for it.
You see Sachi here doing a really lovely engage here, the beautiful R setup, beautiful roots, and then you do see Pilgrim with the lovely follow-up with the R on Jinx as well. Does again go a bit deep here as well. Should never be this deep again, Pilgrim.
Again though.
Yeah, you don't ever go to the Grumps on the bot side, and you never go to the Wolf when you go on top side. But this wasn't too badly executed though, because they are an advantage here. Zac is very low as well. Rel though has just come back from base. Jinx seems to be again playing too aggressive here. Again gives a full bounty to that Zac. That was a really bad play from the side of TNN. They are really rushing things here. We all know Jinx is a champion that you want to wait for. Again, going in, really follow up well from Sachi though. He is, I think, the MVP of this game, to be honest. He has really made that fight turn out for the better. Overall, I think with the fact that he doesn't do a flash engage there, unfortunately Rel does pop the W, does get it down, and then does live with a good shield, and then being off mount makes us stronger, if those weren't aware. Rel is stronger off horse in terms of tank ability, but is less mobile, so she does a bit of a give and take, but overall it's better for Rel to be off horse a fair amount of time, unless for mobile reasons. But sets up a few Q differences here and there. And overall, it was well played from Sachi. It really is the MVP from the early to mid section so far.
Yeah, good stuff. Good roams. I'm currently seeing.
Yeah, we've currently seen the gold. So the currently in the brackets is total spent as well as on hand, and the left side is what they currently have on hand. So we can currently see top side. We do see Weechi is got a bit of advantage, but not as much as I expected. To be honest, I thought it'd be a bit higher. I think that's just due to a bit of a CSing. We do see Tom Kench as a higher CS lead, but only a small amount. We do see there on the side of TNN Wukong, he is doing a bit less favorably right now because that Zach got that bounty shut down on the Jinx. We do see the Nico is surprisingly 2,000 gold lead, which is impressive considering it's only minute 13 nearly into the game. And Jinx was really far ahead, but then equalized more or less to a small degree. There is still about 40 CS lead. Again, Sachi going with the really good ults and just he's abusing this mid laner through and through. He's just got such an advantage. It's probably about 2.5k gold lead now to mid. Jinx trying to go for a red steal here, but just should I think aimed more mid side there, and because you just want to get that laner ahead and further put Aru behind. So if you're going to have something ahead, just keep putting it further and further. Just making them stronger. Otherwise, there's no point. I think you're going to kind of refocus on this mid side for the side of TNN. But even with the lack of focus, Sachi's going to go those good rotations, play off the fact that Pilgrim does seem to be playing or misplaying a lot, and then gets those free kills.
Yeah, engage or at least counter answer from the Zac on mid lane. Quite a advantage so far from the Nico indeed.
We do see that Dust is trying to bait this Wukong here. Oh, actually, Root does go wild. Oh, we do see a really lovely engage from the Tom Kench and does pick up the kill. Olaf does burn his ultimate. Unfortunately, Zach does engage way too late and then has to disengage. So, and this should be a really free Herald pick here unless Zach wants to go for a risky steal. The flyby Zach steals are a classic, as we all know, but it looks like he wants to sit down and just take the blue buff, which is fine. You don't need to risk anything. You should just kind of wait for TNN to kind of throw themselves. That is an interesting TP, but that is a free kill on Sachi if they do get this off. Jinx has come to back him up. Unfortunately, that's not a lot of damage, so Jinx is doing not too well. Can they pick off that Senna? Not at all, unfortunately. He does want to get that passive, so just press off R, and then that does get Jinx excited. You do see a TP bot side as well from Tom Kench. Does go in. Unfortunately, it was a bit wasted. You do see Jinx here just taking off that turret and then going for that Senna again, overly being aggressive, but should get this free kill here. Oh, Senna does do a really beautiful Q in return and does heal herself, and unfortunately does have to burn Flash as well as Ghost and try to capture the Senna. Almost does, but it's just unfortunately fell short. And again, Wukong here playing a bit too deep, as you always see on the side of TNN there. It was always that side of them that just wants to be a bit too aggressive when it's not that late into the game, because those champions, despite having, that advantage with the kills and the CS, your champions still are late game, so they still can't tank those turrets as you wish them to. They still won't output as much damage, because remember, it's only one item still, and you still only have boots. So when you have a 2-item lead, potentially then, but right now there's only about half an item. Maybe if you finish the second item, I'd say there's more potential, but generally around 3 items is when you know you've got this in the bag. Especially when you get them early as well. So I still say they're strong, but I think they're playing them a bit too aggressive. Like, they've already kind of achieved 3 items, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a chance for APE still to get back in.
Yeah, we do see Tom Kench here. Yeah, we do see Tom Kench here doing a 1v2. Looks very tanky, actually. Good to see, even though it's about only 100 CS. And it only has 1 kill and 1 assist and 1 death as well. Tom Kench is known to be one of those tanky champions regardless, unless it's like very, very early on, and has a surprising amount of annoyance as well built into that champion, as well as extra shielding capabilities and a bit of great HP as well, which is a known issue of Pyke haters out there, because the reason Pyke lives 99% of the time is because the great HP bar. So that is one of the reasons why it's a champion that not many people like to face. It's just used that like very persistent living. We do see that they are trying to go for a Drake's up here. We do see that clearance. They do take the scuttle. Very nice setup. I think they do have a bit too deep vision, because you do want a bit more setup around it. We do see that they're trying to go for the Tom Kench, which is a bit of a interesting take here, because you don't want to force too much on the tank, especially this early. You don't want to waste too much. If anything, you can do a pick off on that Jinx, who was alone for a long period of time, but unfortunately not anymore. We do see Nautilus does end up getting a Q onto Ari. Ari does have to burn ultimate and does have 2 left for dashes now. but again has to pop the R to get away, and it is unfortunate to see that. So how long will they wait until Ari can either just wait it out for Ari's R to 40 fall off, or will they try and pick off Tahm Kench here? That's kind of a bit risky, I'd say. They're going to burn too much too soon, or they're just going for a bit of poking here and there, looks like.
Yeah, they're just gonna lack the damage for the Tahm Kench, so don't really think they can do much. They're looking for a setup on mid tower though.
Yeah. Although Nico was actually hidden as a minion. A beautiful play from Sachi. Really well executed. They do get the Herald down as well. In fact, they can even get their second turret down mid side and then take the Drake. You see the Jinx damage there. They do burn heal too soon. Jinx was left alone again, playing way too aggressively. And then you see the like instantly just shredding through that Jinx. It's really weird to see that, but these tanks are doing lots of damage. Dust again alone, as you see again, another member of TNN is alone again. Xenotus again was alone, and Tahm Kench came way too late there. APE played this really well, picking off those champions like Jinx, Wukong, who aren't there just yet. You do see Wukong with Trinity Force instead of a few other items, which I particularly do prefer, but right now there's still a lot of fighting going ahead. You do see Tahm Kench helping out the Lords to get escape. You do see Ari try and throw a few abilities, but they should be focusing the Drake here because it gives them time to come back. You only see Senna and Zac, and Senna hasn't got a lot of damage. He's only half HP right now, so you should be spending most of your team to just take this Drake and shred it and get out as soon as possible, so that the side of TNN can't do a comeback and take that Drake. As Jinx is actually stronger than Smite and does about 1.6k, I believe. If I think it has to be fully stacked, or is it level 1 or 2 built up? But again, Jinx's aura is stronger than Smite, which is quite crazy early, to be honest. So if you're not careful, she will steal that from you.
Possible there. Looking at the replay though, replaying the fight from mid lane, where really good tower dive and hard engage on the Ahri. Not sure if you want to go for her on 05 so far, not your actual target. Jinx getting caught as well as the Olaf really diving in on the Jinx. Really good focus by APE here. They definitely take the fight in their own hands. Wukong also getting caught out, actually ends up dying like we earlier saw, but yeah, really good focus. You basically secure the jungler. APE might have actually gotten more, but it's flash out from Nautilus. Good stuff there, really good focus. Just get the enemy carries down. If Nico already burnt the ult, there's quite a lot less damage, so yeah.
Alright, so yeah, we do see that the side of TNN have taken the enemy top side turret, and that has come from Sachi. They do want to either bait a Baron here, or they're looking just potentially hover around this side for the right now. There's not a lot going to occur. They shouldn't be forcing as much as they might potentially want to, because they just try and get those lanes pushed in, get that level up a bit more, and look for potential pickoffs right now. And you do see that Dust is going for a lovely pickup. It's actually Nico in the skies, and they do see a lovely shred down on that center. Does get instantly executed and popped. I say executed, but there's no execution, and then the Pilgrim picks up the other kill. It looks like an execution because the amount of damage Sachi is doing is insane. Sachi is more or less nearly solo carrying this game with Jinx. Of course, you do see a few Qs in from that Nautilus, and again, Tahm Kench is going for one from this Ahri. Again, they're actually, I think, at a similar state, but Tahm Kench is so strong, it's just going to be really impossible for that Ahri to kill that Tahm Kench. We do see that Olaf is trying to go for a engage here. You do see Zac behind. He does go in, but he is going alone. Tahm Kench does TP in really good. Could have been a bit sooner. But again, you got that Nico just kind of getting rid of that Zac. Does just disable the engage, and they do take a free Baron here. That was really well played. I do feel as if the Tahm Kench could have come sooner because they did lose a fair amount of damage. You do see here Jinx does get excited off of most objectives. It does play a bit overly aggressive. Oh, you do see Nautilus coming with a Q. Again, does Jinx pay the price for this overstepping? Unfortunately, it looks like Dust has killed the side of APE's support, and then takes out the Senna as well, and the Zac unfortunately did not get anywhere close to killing that Jinx in the end, and then ends up losing the passive at the same time. So instead of TNN giving us a throw, it looks like Apes ended up paying the price for forcing something they shouldn't have done. And does Dust pay the price for it? No, he just has to just delay his recall. But that was not too bad from Ahri there, considering how the game's been going. But unfortunately, it looks like they have more or less thrown this game. There is an 8k gold lead, 2,000 more gold, and it would be very impossible for the side of APE to come back from it. But will TNN be their own worst enemies, or will APE look for a comeback potential? Time will tell.
Yeah, interested to see if TNN actually, I mean, they slightly did so before. Good, yeah, good trade from Nico there.
Oh, we see
Gets
Nautilus
out
going in for
on
that
the,
Q as well.
okay.
Really well played.
Rel in
Rel
danger
trying
for
to
sure.
escape, but it's hard to say. And there's that damage. It just Rel doesn't look tanky enough, unfortunately. It does feel a bit wasted. Jinx again getting excited. Do see that I going for a risky blast coming over. Remember, this is the Chemtech Soul, so all those little bits of jungle here and there will be amplified. And then Pilgrim again
Dead.
playing way too far up again. Dust playing the pressure as well. Nico again. Oh, beautifully played from Sachi. Beautiful double kill nearly. Oh my god. I think technically those kills should belong to Sachi, but overall excellently played. It's even as a caster, it's really quite annoying to follow Sachi unless you actually look for him. Yeah, he's playing Nico beautifully. Worry works here. This is MVP all over to Sachi. He has really carried this game really well. Those roams, those macro, everything was really on point from him, as it always is.
Yeah, so far really looking like a Nico carry indeed. The Pilgrim, I mean, he got caught out. Good engage from APE, except they didn't really account for the Nico coming in with the counter engage and yeah, just wiping the floor with the rest of the 3 APE members and their inhibitor tower. Good fight. Inhibitor down now for APE, so single inhibitor on the mid lane. Dragon is spawning quite soon, 40-45 seconds, so we're far away from Soul since APE really contested the Dragon so far and actually got 2, whereas TNN have 1, even though they're quite big lead, 11k at the moment, 11 and a tiny bit.
Yeah. Oh, we do see here another kill potentially topside. Olaf can escape here. He does have everything up. He does burn Ghost, and he tries to go for at least a 1v1 trade here, but he does end up hitting the Jinx again. Pilgrim has very bad positioning problems, and then Such again just pops that ultimate, does just pop him out of existence. Yeah, Pilgrim really has to take a step in the right direction. Pathing, positioning does really, especially the positioning. His pathing's not horrible, but there is a few instances, but it's generally his overall positioning is costing a lot overall. But again, Sachi, because that Olaf was shredding both of them, just had to pop his art. Unfortunately, doesn't have it for this team fight, but will it matter? He does burst the TP, does jump in for a flash, does try and get that Drake, but unfortunately, Zac does take the steal. And again, that's another steal on the side of Ape. Still another TNN Drake, unfortunately. But does Ape pay the price for this? Do they end up costing them too much? And do they end up losing the game right now? Does TNM understand that all they have to do is push mid and they win the game? Probably not, because they are not going for mid at all. They are trying to push the bot side, which is a fair enough playing. But when they had 2 to 3 members down, 5-man mid, you would have won the game, because those were 30-second death timers apart from one of them. So they don't really seem to want to answer or end it early, but I think they just might be lacking that confidence. They do still have a around 11k gold lead. There's so much potential for them to end early. Tom Kench has to engage with them, because he seems to be far away from most of these team fights. He doesn't need a split push. He's not one of those type of champions that is a force to be reckoned with on the side lane. He's really more annoying in team fights half the time. He's not, again, something you want to leave alone, but he's more annoying with the team. And they do see here, they are trying to get that bot side turret. They do take the tier 2, but they are trying to take tier 3 now. Unfortunately, they don't have Baron buff. They did lose Drake. Will they lose Soul? And will they push the correct lanes? Because they seem to be ARAMing it bot side. And they're not pushing mid at all. They do have super minions. And you do see, was that Dust on Wukong pushing top? But you don't really want to see Wukong pushing for turrets. You do want to see more Tom Kench with the TP, because you don't have a TP on the jungler. So it's a bit of a macro nightmare overall for how they're playing this. You do want to see Tom Kench top instead of the Wukong, but they should work out overall, because they just seem to have allowed it to happen for some reason without any punishment whatsoever. Because side they had no wave at all, so why they didn't answer that Wukong is beyond me. But they got away with something they shouldn't have gotten away with, and it looks like Ape is falling apart at the seams.
Yeah, I agree on the wrong lane assignment. I mean, Wukong, the only reason you would want him there is because of the Triforce, the actual auto attack buff. But besides that, yeah, anyone with TP, the Nico on Sachi on the Nico, or Engon on the Tom Kench, those are better split pushers, and Wukong would be a lot more useful with the fight. Still, yeah, what you can see now on the map, we have a very dark game for Ape so far. They're just, yeah, they don't have vision, and they're going straight into the dark when trying to face check for Baron. Good
Yeah.
possible attempt. I'm really liking TNN not starting it straight away, but actually looking for a pick first. Whoever face checks you is possibly dead, and yeah, you might as well use that to your advantage.
Yeah, it's odd that they didn't take the Boscan over, though, to get that away from the side of Ape. You do want to... I actually personally wanted to see the fact that they should have assigned, you know, the enemy... Oh, it looks like the Boscan was Nico instead, and they actually overlaid it onto the opposing one, and they end up doing a beautiful distraction play here, and they end up baiting the side of Ape into a team fight they shouldn't have wanted at all, and they do a really lovely kill. It happens so fast as well, because Sachi is doing so much damage. He had, what, 10, 11 kills there early. He had 25 stacks of Magi's. And unfortunately, this Eye was just left to defend the base on her own and was unable to help the team whatsoever. It looks like that really worked out well. I can see why they didn't take the Bosco at all. What a crazy twist there. That was actually Nico. I was looking over the map for it, and I was like wondering where the Nico was. And then, to my surprise, it's actually the Blascone on the Blascone.
That's definitely... It might as well play of the game.
Yeah, I think that is actually, like you said, one of the best things I've seen in this game. And I have to give MVP here to Sachi. Like, overall, this game is, unfortunately, I think I don't think they can really come back from that at all.
No,
I mean,
it's more dragged out than Ape would want. Sorry,
yeah,
TNN would want, but still, it's Nico actually. Yeah, basically just making the clutch plays in fights, actually carrying the fights, and the the rest of TNN are playing well, but Nico really is making the difference so far.
Yeah.
Ape are having a tough time. The Olaf play on top side. The 2-1 was well played, definitely for him. He got more than he should have gotten. But
100%.
Him to actually kill the.
It looks like Ape here are trying to actually go for a risky Baron take, just to answer the fact that, you know, TNN for some reason are going for a Drake when all they need to do is take Baron and end the game. But they do see here a TP from that Tom Kent going in that bot side. He is going to end up trying to take... and this is all very risky from both sides. For some reason, there's not a lot of full commitment on either end, which is very odd to see. We do see Wukong going in here for a 1v. There was...
Baron, though.
Yeah, it was a base race now. They end up killing us. The Ares is going to be popped very quickly. And unfortunately, they end up paying the price for this for taking Baron. I would like to see this sooner if they're going to go for the Baron. I don't think they had the Sightstone with Trinket on the Baron side for them to understand that they were taking it. But there was, I think, a really good understanding. No, again, the side of TNN has not seemed to fully understood how to end and clear out these games. Again, it looks like they're having a bit of trouble here. Again, Jinx is picked off. Sachi is alone at this point. Tom Kent is trying to 1v4 at this rate, just trying to make sure that Sachi does live. Again, the position comes really subpar from that Jinx. Wukong, again, just went in too soon. They just need a 5-man end, but again, side of TNN has played this drastically wrong. They ended up giving Baron. They did take the inner turrets, and they did take nearly the Nexus, but because they allowed Baron for free, they could just Baron reset and then disengage them off their Nexus. So again, they should be finished by 5-6 minutes ago, but they're having a really tough time closing out this game. And I think they're just playing this macro for the ending part extremely wrong, which is unfortunate considering the amount of goldie they have is, again, 11,000, which they seem to maintain very nicely. But they were trying to take Drake away from them when they could have just ended with Baron, which is very baffling to me. I know you don't want to give Soul away because it can be a game changer, but when you have 11,000 gold lead, this just delays the game. You have Baron, you have all 3 lanes, you have the super minions. You're just giving them more opportunity to come back into this game because there's going to be less and less objectives later on, unless you're trying to force an Elder, but you're going to have Soul first. So I'm not too sure what TNN are going to be doing unless they really just go for a wipe and then just take the Nexus at this point.
Yeah, I mean, TNN, I mean, it's not what you want, but it might be more beneficial to them to give... Oh, Ari actually already ulted.
Ari's already paid the price for this, as we see multiple times throughout this game. Does play very much alone, as you saw from TNN. There's a lot of solo plays, but again, that is one less member. They do have Baron. And unfortunately, it looks like they are trying to close this game out now. And would it be a good thing or a bad thing for the side of Ape? It looks like there's a beautiful engage again from Versace. Does play pretty well. Wukong does get the kill on the center, gets rid of that backline annoyance. They do end up killing that Olaf again, was really the problematic issue for the Jinx. They do end up taking away Zac and his passive, and then Rel is the last to live. And Sachi was the MVP for this fight throughout the whole game, early, mid, and the late, especially on that blast cone, which was, I think, the highlight special that we we all love to, I think, clip. But yeah, they had a really tough time closing this game up for some reason. I mean, they just had to go for Baron and then just push all the 1-3-1. Even not even a 1-3-1 because one of them would have also pushed and this could have closed the game up. They could close the game up 5 minutes ago. But again, really well played overall from the side of the TNN. Just was a bit messy overall, considering how much gold lead they had. It was nearly 12k in the end. Ape potentially coming back. Olaf did really well in certain areas, like we saw, like you said earlier, about the 1v2, especially against their two fairest players, which was Pilgrim and Sachi, almost getting a double kill nearly, which just shows you how strong Wichi is and how badly they played that team fight, especially Pilgrim mispositioning a tremendous amount, giving very many kills over to the enemy side. But overall, very lovely played from TNN, especially Sachi. It was kind of like a masterclass on how to play Nico for for this elo, I'd say. So I'd say very well played overall, and I think that should really put Ape into a position where they want to kind of rethink their lineup a little bit. I do like the Olaf pick, but maybe the others were a bit not as useful because, like I said at the very beginning, they got a lot of engage here. So where's the Talia pick? Why are we picking Ari?
I mean, Ari could kind of do the same job as Talia. Still, Pilgrim definitely got punished a good amount of times. I mean, they might have, if they would have had the vision, they might have actually wanted to go for the Nico. But usually, Nico was in a different form, or just really hard to find. Jinx is the guaranteed and visible carry, and good punishes from Ape. There, at least their objective or what they initially drafted for. I think they did it. They did it at least a couple of team fights. The Nico plays were just too much in some fights. Really throwing winning the team fights for TNN side.
Yeah, I think Sachi was the whole kind of backbone behind that team. I mean, Pilgrim again played it really well. I do believe we're going to take a 3-minute break here just for the casters alone, particularly myself. Just going to get some drink and then we should be right back. Okay, so we are back for game two. That was really lovely game from game one. I think as we said, MVP multiple times was Sachi there. I do hope we have an improvement from Pilgrim this time, but again, it's only going to be a game different. It's quite hard for players to really kind of go, "Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong." And I do think I want to see a bit of a stronger. I think overall synergy in the side of Apes picks. Now, I was also say they didn't play it well. I think that Olaf was really well picked. They did play it really well, but I do think that they did have a bit of anti synergy in certain aspects. What do you think, TSM?
Yeah, I agree. I think two champs. I mean, the Zach Rel were quite more focused on diving. The Ari is possibly diving, but also just looking for picks. Um, I think the Senna could be improved to to a champion that's more like a hyper carry or a more late game. And yeah, besides that, Olaf, good insight, good counter, or at least reaction to the enemy team, having triple hard CC for team fights. Olaf just ultis, uses Ghost. You can run past them and honestly just ignore what they're doing in the fight. Really smart pick there, but definitely room for improvement.
Yeah, I agree. I just think overall, from what we saw and the predictions were that TNN would be the stronger side. Going off that first game, I just think that when you win that first one, you feel a bit more relaxed. So hopefully TNN don't end up throwing it. But I do hope that Ape aren't too, you know, oh, okay, it's a bit more absently. Oh, it's over now, guys. That was a really rough game. It was 11K goalie. I hope it doesn't get to them too much because you want to see a good first game and a strong second game. You don't want to see a bit of a disparity and despair just because of the first game at all.
No, no, no. It's definitely not over yet. I really want to see Ape actually change it up. Kind of try to reset themselves. You've lost you've lost the first game. Not the end of the world. There's still two. If you actually win the current one, you have a bit more info on the enemy team because last game some things weren't banned. You can now ban the Nico, get rid of it, possibly go for a stronger pick yourselves, or at least look for an answer in a different lane. There is more info for you now to really take the game back and actually, yeah, play it out better and try to get a lead.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, until we can see those picks and bans, it's going to take a second to get into them. We will see what they actually do go for. I think the issue is that they can't really just ignore the fact that there's Pilgrim and Sachi there. Before it was just kind of more towards okay, we see Sachi, we know how well he's going to be picking, we know what he's going to be playing. Generally, we know he's going to force kind of an Anivia. We know he really. I mean, it's kind of unknown unless you kind of know Sachi, that he really actually does like a Vel'Koz pick, and he will pull it out, and it is quite spicy. So he's got more potential picks and off meta picks than people think. Vel'Koz did get a bit of a buff, I believe, but he's a bit low key right now. When Trundle was very sort of like, why aren't people picking him? Now everyone's and his grandma picks Trundle, and they're picking him topside because he's got great amount of attack speed. But he actually has more picks than people can ban. So you're gonna have to be a bit more wise on them. Otherwise, you're just gonna try and ban Sachi out and keep forgetting about Pilgrim. So yeah, there's only so much allocation they can give to Sachi with Pilgrim on the board, despite how he's misplaying recently. When you have the masterclass of which Sachi performed, I think you do have to give more just bans towards him, just from what he showed in the Mika plays. So I agree with that Nika play. It does need to be banned out, from what I saw at least.
Yeah, I'd like to see Ape adapt to it. And what I'm currently seeing in draft, they're banning Anivia as well as the Nico. So yeah, good focus on Sachi here. Deserved, but also necessary if you really want to. Yeah, might as well hard focus the enemy team's best player so far in the first game to possibly take over and put a very strong player on a for him or her weaker champion. That's
Yeah.
definitely a chance to take the game away.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal again, I think it's the obvious one because I think that's just again Pilgrim's strongest one. We do see that they get another. I think this side of TNN has the exact same bans as before. You get Zeri, Alawi, and Brum. I do remember seeing a Zeri ban before and a Brum ban. Oh, Ape taking away that Jinx from TNN, which is actually a very smart move. if you do play Jinx, because Jinx again one of those really strong champions, similar to Kog'Maw, similar to Twitch. It's just really a great hyper scaling champion. But I thought I was wanting to see Varus actually more on the side of APE. I think they were done really well last game, but time will tell if taking away Jinx was actually a good thing or a bad thing for the side of APE.
No, I think it's always Jinx is always good. Like it's quite safe, solid late game hyper carry, guaranteed damage, as well as can't really go wrong with
Yeah.
Jinx, except if you're getting Dove or Jinx really lacks defense. Azir could be the champion to actually sweep in and push Jinx into the enemy team, getting the easy kill.
Oh, as I said earlier about the Varus pick, there it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Nice.
it's a really strong, like a hyperscale again. It's one of those champions that was still a Baron that you see Gumayushi actually has more Baron takes than most junglers in pro play. And Azir is again one of Sachi's favorites. So two hyperscales right there. Again, I think Varus would be a bit better off in the early game in comparison to Jinx. So I do feel as if that you're gonna see a similar thing bot side as you did last game, and you see a Sejuani pick from the side of APE. So that's a pretty good front line. Got a really good CC, and it will probably shut down either Varus or the Azir. So it probably could be a good answer if any of those two try and get a bit too overly aggressive and step wrong, which you do see from Pilgrim, less from Sachi, but can known to do this, especially on the Azir. So you might see it from both of them this game, and this could actually be maybe a best out of 3 instead of a 2-0 maybe. And there is an Annie mid, potentially mid, from the side of APE. You don't want to see this bot side, I think, but can work out just a bit or dynamic, I'd say, for right now.
Yeah, could work. I mean, it's pretty good laning answer into the Azir. Both are quite solid, and he definitely has a chance to stabilize the lane and basically disallow the Azir to do anything. Maybe even push hard enough so Azir can't really roam, or is the second one to roam. Gain pick from TNN though. Okay.
That was a bit surprising to see that.
Yeah.
I've not seen the side. Kane is one of those sort of solo queue style champions that you don't really see too often. It's either going to do really well or it's going to really do subpar, like a Viego essentially. It's one of those solo queue style champions, and unless you're kind of like going for it, it doesn't feel like it's going to work too well. But maybe it's a red Kane instead of blue Kane, and that was a Mordekaiser ban, which is understandable. You don't really want to see a Mordekaiser pressing R onto the Azir or Varus and then getting tapped out of the game. So I think that's a wise ban overall. I think like a Malphite, some would say that's just something you want to get rid of just so your laners are fresh and clean away from just getting executed from anyone that's going to be annoying. I say executed as in like just taken out of the game. And then you see an Ashe ban, which is a bit surprising to see. Ashe Varus is an okay combination, but don't think it's probably the wisest ban across the board here. And that is a beautiful ban again for the Olaf. I think that was kind of the main issue they struggled against, especially on the side of TNN. I think that's actually pretty wise because it does hit their backline. It does end up pretty going through and ignoring that CC that Varus will want to implement and that Sachi want to implement. So that's actually a pretty good ban. I just think APE has wasted a ban on Ashe, but it's an annoying champion. Does have more as perma CC on all abilities, apart from the E, which is used for great macro awareness. So it's not a bad ban, but I just think it was the wisest. And then there is a Mundo ban as well for APE to TNN. Again, not too sure what they're trying to answer. Again, these last two do feel a bit here and there. I just think they're not too sure what to ban. But I think that they should have banned Leona, and we do see a Leona pick, because from my understanding is that Leona is one of those broken champions right now because they've actually increased the melee range by a small margin, where it will look like Leona's Q, which is actually a melee ability, looks more range than it should do. So it does have a bit more brokenness going for it, and its every ability is a CC factor. So I just think that they should have gone for like a tank ban bot side instead of an Ashe and Mundo, but that's just unfortunate for the side of APE. But let's see what happens next on those picks and bans. Ready from Maokai is actually, I think, a good strong answer. Overall, it's not the worst thing in the world. I think it's overall uniquely one of those champions that has, again, like Leona, so much CC potential that if you step wrong, which you see a lot from Pilgrim, he will answer that and he will pick you off from the board. So you just want to make sure that an ally is nearby it because you don't have that damage potential.
Yeah, no, I think they are, or it's most likely going to be a Maokai support. Good or useful answer into the Leona, as well as possible pick attempts on Varus or Azir even, if they dive into the backline. Kill pick from Ape, completing their lineup. I'm not entirely happy that they don't really have a lot of melees to combine with the Sejuani for more stuns, but Kill blind is still fairly good. Good damage and scaling as well. Uh, Compared to TNN's possible poke Ferris and Kane. Yon top. Okay,
This
this
is very
very
interesting.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he did get a buff though, didn't he? Now, so it's not. Is it? It was last patch, didn't he? Got a buff, and they did buff the AD items as well. So no, actually,
Mhm.
sorry, they recalled that buff. Sorry, that they were going to buff Yone, but he ended up being, I think, recalled, and I think it was going to be this coming patch. So I do think this is a risky pick. It's a good scaling champion. It's one of the most broken champions that has scaling potential. Yone has one of the most simplistic game styles ever. He's actually more simple to play than Yasuo, which is the wind 3000, some would say, or other words. But Yone, again, the brother to cousin of Yasuo, again, is very not hard to pick up. Has a lot of potential to kind of go in and do some risky plays, but again, can just kind of jump back a bit because of his abilities. So he's not the worst in the world, but they are lacking a frontline. So you want to see Red Kane here. Otherwise, you're going to have a massive disparity in terms of tank potential, and you really don't want to see that, especially with the Kale that can get so far ahead. But I think the Leona will try and answer the Kale a fair amount and get that just like attack speed off, but you're going to have a Jinx as well. So you don't want to get that Jinx in your assists. You don't want to get it in your kills. You're going to make sure that you're going to get those two kind of off the board and kind of very far behind because you don't want them having a snowball effect. You don't want them having a lead, and you especially don't want them, either of them, having 3 kills. So you're going to make sure you protect the mid. You want to protect that bot side, and you don't want to feed either of those two because Ape can take this game in more ways than one. And it might. It's. I think it's just a very odd draft to see from the side of TNN. Like last game was really solid, and
Mhm.
this is a very solo queue style draft from the side of TNN right now. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's very much a lot less focus, or I mean, a lot less guaranteed engage, as well as team fight focus. Ferris in, yeah, I'm interested to see if it's actually going to be poke Ferris or more towards a attack speed Ferris with lethal tempo. I think I would like the poke Ferris more combined with the rest of their team, but it's very different. I'm not sure if I like it. Still, there is dive potential with Azir or Azir dashing in, ulting. The Yone ult is a dive, as well as Yone E, where he can basically close the gap and then return later. Kane, either form, is a pretty good fighter, or at least in the backline. Possible disruptor with the W or Red Kane W as well, and otherwise just assessing Kane, getting the kill on Jinx, maybe even kill if kill doesn't have the ulti. I like Ape's draft more. It's a lot more. I mean, I'm not gonna say simple because that's not really it. It's a lot more decisive. They have the tools to engage as well as possibly disengage. They have CC to do that. And yeah, Ape have a more of a regular competitive team comp, whereas TNN actually went a very different style and yeah, look to really change it up. It seems after their win even.
Yeah, I agree. I just think that I do prefer Apes picks here a lot more. They have so much more setup. Again, there is potential that they could swap out Markai for a different tank, but they could have picked Brom here. But just for the passive, like it's going to work really well with Jinx. Like that stun would have been beautiful. But Maokai is
Yeah,
like
as well.
very, yeah, he's got a lot going for him as well. So I wouldn't like kind of like knock it off at all. I just feel as if like TNN are kind of relying on their own sort of micro mechanics here. And I mean, I would say that Pilgrim and Suchi can definitely, do quite well, but I feel as if this solo queue style might actually be more of a negative in the long run when you're going to see a early Annie and then you're going to see a KO and Jinx come on the board where Varus again has a good amount of range in comparison to Jinx, but
Hmm.
it really does rely on them just not inting and trying to do what they did last game, because Virus doesn't have the same passive as Jinx does. So you might see a problem kind of occurring on that ADC for the side of TNN, and you might see a bit more running around than it should be doing. So I'm hoping that TNN play this a bit better than they did last game, considering how far ahead they were. There was a lot of missteps that shouldn't have really occurred for a team that had an 11k gold lead. So with that kind of happening, I do hope that they play this one a bit more macro awareness, or just a bit more macro smart, I'd say. And also just the overall positioning just feels like it needed to be a bit more worked on. But maybe that was something they were just kind of, doing as the first game. Jinx is a champion that is known to be, okay, when you get a strong increase of speed out of nowhere, you can end up running way too far forward, and then you have Ghost with you. So it is a bit of like a surprise if you're not fully used to it, to kind of like get used to that sort of jolt of speed. But again, that was coming from the player more so when they dove really far deep into the enemy side, the jungle, especially the bot side. So hopefully you're not going to see that again.
Yeah, no, I'm like draft wise, I'm slightly afraid that Ape will still have a chance, even if the game goes similarly. So Ape or TNN gets ahead, gets early kills, basically starts growing a lead. Ape, with the tools and the champions they have a really good chance of actually turning around the team fight, getting kills on the basically target members or the actual people that have the leads on TNN side, and yeah, just turn around the fight and really take the game back again if TNN fails.
Yeah, so we are in game now. It looks like the side of Ape are going for a potential invade here, looks like, and the side of TNN is going for the point-to-point. So it looks like that they might go for it. There's a bit of hesitation. I think that the simplest thing to do here on the side of TNN is to put a ward down, especially on Leona, but they can easily escape. Just might have to burn something, but does put a ward down, and they do gain nothing from this. But again, it was just something they could have potentially gained. But overall, the leader we played this very smart, walked away, vision down, just in case they tried to commit to it to just delay the invade further and go for a bit of a late one. But overall, just well played, and they didn't do anything risky. Annie, again, has the sun up, and they could have potentially got a bit of CC from the Maokai. So you never know how that could have played out, but it was something. It's good to see something early sometimes. Otherwise, you're going to see a point-to-point early start, and it can be a bit boring for viewing, but overall, it was well played from both sides. Nothing too risky happened.
Yeah, noticing release the Kayn solo invaded on blue side, getting a counter ward there. Currently Kill also warding the blue side, so both teams have knowledge there. On blue team's blue,
Also,
or top side blue. Kayn is currently,
Sorry, I was going to say that you're going to see look like that the Lee Wu and Pim going for this early, very early trade, and they do get this Jinx half HP. Maokai does have to flash in to get them off of the Jinx, and it looks like Varus again is playing this a bit 1v2 style. Does get the XP, and unfortunately that they do miss the first half of the wave on the side of Ape. So again, very well played, Bush abusing choosing, and it does put that Jinx behind. It is what you did not want to see this early, because Virus does have the early lead potential already, and you do see that Leona is a bit more broken. They did wait a bit longer than they should have done, but overall really well played. And you do see the Kayn starting top side, potentially might go for an invade on the enemy side jungle, and you see the Sedge is hovering around mid, finishing off those Raptors. So really well played so far from the side of TNN.
Yeah, seeing the Kayn, he is running first strike as well, so definitely looks, or at least expect, a blue Kayn this game, which is Assassin Kayn, and yeah, possibly, I mean, more of the solo queue-ish style, which you would expect with the team comp.
We do see that Kayn is going for that that top side invade. Again, it wasn't pretty too sure that it was warded or not, and then does go way too deep for those wolves again, and then waste smite. It does take him away, but again, it is a waste considering blue up is up. So there's potential to do something here. Kale is kind of pushed off, especially this early. There's not a lot Kale can really do, so it's more of a bit of a poke support at this point. Again, Dust is going in a bit deep here. Sedge is quite tanky, but do they get a good trade here? Oh, Dust paying the price for that. Ends up getting stunned. and they do get first blood. Goes to the goes to the Yone, sorry, and then Kel gets a a 1-for-1 kill, and then just goes way too far deep. Oh, control mage going way too deep here. Dashes in under turret, takes a turret shot. Suchi having to try and help out his teammates, ends up losing a bit more than probably bargained for. And it was actually well played from the side of Ape, considering how bad that was going for them. They do have a bit of goal disparity off of generally the first blood and a bit of CSing here and there, but it's more because of that first blood overall.
Yeah, definitely that mostly. There's not much of a gold lead besides. Both junglers actually dying there really just slows them down. It could be worse, like worst thing would be one jungler dying, the other a laner. That really, yeah, gold-wise or at least experience-wise, but sets them at a different pace. Now still, both junglers clearing their respective blue side and both objectives, the grubs as well as the dragon, spawning soon. I'm interested to see which team goes where, or if they actually just trade them instead of contesting the other team.
Yeah, I mean, the side of TNN is not really wanting to siege too much, but again, you want to take it away from a siege comp. They are more of a pick-off comp, and they probably want to focus his Drakes here. Again, you don't really want to fight this too early because Leona is actually more busted than she would appear. They does pop Ghost on the Jinx. They do take away that Marco from the Jinx. Lee was just waiting for those cooldowns. You do see Kane coming with the rotation, does end up getting the kill, does get the E in. Ian does swap places and does end up living, and they do 2 kills on the side of TNN. One goes to Kane and one goes to Varus. They do get the backs in. Hopefully that side of TNN get this bot side pushed out. Looks like the side of APE is taking the top side Void Grubs right now, and the side of TNN should go for those Drake real soon. So very well played overall. I just think that they just mistimed it, because when you have your jungler top side, you don't really want to force fight bot side, because you're going to know that they're going to try and cross map most likely. So it was just unfortunate timing and play from the side of Ape that they tried to force something where they shouldn't have done, knowing that their jungler is on the opposite side of the map.
Yeah, unnecessary force from them. Still, currently, red side TNN taking the dragon. They have prio as well as just the kills on the double kill on bot lane. No way that Ape were gonna contest the dragon there, as well as their jungler taking Void Grubs on top side. I mean, cross-mapping it is always a good choice. It can't really go wrong there on the first one. Usually either one of the junglers is stronger, and contesting might actually get you killed or just at a disadvantage. Cross-mapping is safe, nobody really gets hurt.
No, that's 100% true, but they will take that away soon. So I think it was either the Drake will spawn a bit later, or it was the other one of the 2 objectives will spawn later, and
Yeah,
they do want a
Drake.
bit more. Yeah, they wanted more fighting, because this keeps happening where there'd be a lot of respecting early, and then nothing would really show for it. So LBs do Pilgrim just doing a really weird ward here, goes really deep, and then pays the price, has to burn flash. Leon again paying the price for Pilgrim's overstep. Pilgrim trying to escape here, and unfortunately will pay the price for this, and then it should see Li Wu getting taken down at the same time. Does again burn flash, but unfortunately just wastes it. Goes under turret, tries to get the Maokai, unfortunately ends up giving 2 kills away, and that Jinx gets a double kill. So again, you see Pilgrim just positioning and pathing wrong, as I was stated earlier, and it's unfortunate to see, but he's very consistent at being doing the wrong thing, sadly. So it's not what you want to see.
Yeah, good punish by Ape, but definitely, I mean, the fault is on Pilgrim as well as just TNN side. I don't know what you really want to do there. Get him out of Drybush, but you're walking blind.
Yeah. All you want is that one try and then walk away. If you take a control ward, I mean, just make sure the other side of the wall has not got like 6 people waiting for you, or 3 to 2. Otherwise, you get picked off. So it's again Pilgrim just playing overly aggressive for absolutely nothing, and they end up keep giving a lead. I mean, they still have a 1,000 gold lead thanks to first blood and just CSing overall, but they are losing more than they should be for no reason.
Yeah, no, good stuff still. I mean, the Ape are on top of at least the game that TNN are trying to play and actually answering the plays there. Currently, I hope, slowing it down, except for while trading in lane. Is this an ult?
No, unfortunately,
just good
yeah.
trades.
It wasn't too bad overall. I just think that, if TNN just kind of play a bit more macro smart, they would actually take the game away a lot quicker because they had a hard
Mm-hmm.
time closing that last game. So hopefully we don't see the same thing
Yeah.
again. We do see here that Sedge was just rotating topside. There is not a lot of vision on the side of TNM right now, but they are answering these potential ganks. So it looks like Angon is safe for the meantime. Again, just want to see a bit more vision down, a bit more macro understanding. Again, Sachi is bullying Annie here, which that shouldn't really be happening to be honest. But Sachi is one of the strongest mid laners. I think all the strongest mid laner we have in the series, I think, currently right now. So it's to be expected, even on a scaling champion into Annie, that Sachi will do very well.
Yeah, no, I mean, good trades mid. Any using the ult to actually kind of trade back and make it more of an even fight. Still, CS lead slightly to the Azir on mid lane, 9 or 8 CS so far. Small lead, not really much happening. I'd like to see them get involved in the next fights. Oh,
Okay.
it looks like we're getting a pause. There are slight issues with the spectator, sadly. Once it's back up, we'll slowly continue. Even though, yeah, so far so good. We're half a minute away in game for Grubs, and I'm not sure which one of the teams is going there. Kind
No,
of looks
yeah.
like Kane might be going there soon.
Yeah, it does look like he backed for that specific reason. You do see bot side. There's not really much to kind of go for this early on. So yeah, I do think you're right about that Kane rotation. I don't really. Again, it's really rough to go blue Kane here because the potential of only having your front line as Leona really puts pressure on the rest of your laners who are all hyperscales to kind of perform really well.
Yeah, I mean the one upside is the spell shield that you might get from your items. Besides that, I think Red Cane just works better in fights, having the healing on yourself, being like more self-sufficient, as well as a lot better in terms of staying alive. I
Yeah, yeah, I
generally
agree.
like Red Cane more, but yeah, they the one thing Blue Cane could do.
Oh, we do see that we are back now. We do see that Varus has popped his ultimate. Does end up walking into Jinx's traps, and Liwu is walking around trying to just make sure that Varus doesn't take more damage. Unfortunate about that pause, but we are back into it, and we do see a bit of trading topside as well, and which is to be expected to be honest, because it's a melee champion. Does have a bit of range to a degree. Like it actually has more range than most people would think. On Yone, but Kale will come into its own element soon. Does have a kill as well. Remember, topside is a bit behind on that CS though, which is going to put it even further behind. So really waiting for that level 16, it seems to be on that KO.
Possible freeze again in terms of the spectator. Didn't notice so far, but Yone is actually running a 30 CS lead and getting ahead on top sign. We're okay. Spectator as well as the game is currently having a slight issue again. It seems to be the league client as well as freezing the spectator we're currently watching. Sadly.
Yeah, but we can still comment on the fact that it does look like they're going for the Void Grump, so it really is anyone's game. Looks like that Azir has rotated early on, and Annie may end up getting a good sort of flank in from the side of TNN. You see the positioning on the minimap where the Azir as well as the Kane is rotating a bit too deep there with very little escape. I mean, they both are champions, can escape through walls. Sachi again could just kind of like soldier over and then dash to his soldier, and Kane can just press his abilities and just walk through walls. So again, they can escape, but it is a very risky sort of idea because if you have an Annie come out of nowhere, stuns you, you're not going anywhere anytime soon, and Sedge will follow up as well. So you don't really want to get picked off here. You want to make sure you're playing this a bit smarter. You don't want to be open waters. You don't want to walk through the waterway too much here. You just kind of want to path it a bit clearer, and you need to get that vision down as well. I'm not seeing many control wards this early on. Again, it is quite early, but for objectives, you should still be running one control ward for most of the people who are going to be over there. So you shouldn't really see the support do all the visions. It should come from most of the laners who are going to go for the objectives. So yeah, I'm hoping to see some better setups, but again, it's hard to really determine what can right now happen. But I do think that Ape can kind of get this early lead. As we've seen, they did do a double kill bot side from just a bit of a misplay from TNN. Well, it's a bit, honestly, a bit more of a misplay, but again, they answered it really well. So I think Ape can still do a lot of damage.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, currently, I think it's still anyone's game. Seeing the gold lead is quite minor on TNN side still, and Ape having the more decisive teamfight champions as well as the CC. If they contest an objective or at least go for a 5v5 fight, having their top side involved, there's a good chance they still take it. They might not get the objective, but they might run away with the fight and actually slowly get a lead there.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the issue here, though, Jinx is 6 now, and that ultimate may be pending for a good cross map R, and might actually do more damage than expected from what people think. As we do see that Jinx does have good potential to take objectives for stealing or helping out the allies. So, and can be disruptive across the map just by emitting an ultimate. So, overall, we're going to see something from Jinx. Hopefully, does have the mana to do so. We never know actually at this point. There's another pause, so it is yet to be determined what is going to be occurring, but hopefully something juicy.
Yeah, it's slightly waiting still. Doesn't look like we're able to continue the game due to client issues on, just generally the spectating side, sadly.
Yeah, but we
Hmm.
will go to break for about 3 minutes, so hopefully sort this all out though. So it looks like, unfortunately, we're having further issues with spectating, and we are going to have to work with them, and we will need another 5-minute break.
Hello, everyone spectating. We are very sadly unable to fix the current issues. It looks like the spectator client as well as just the spectator servers are not responding properly. TNN so far are 1-0 ahead in their series against APE. They're currently still playing the game, so for them it's all going well. The actual game, or at least the one that we're trying to spectate, is unavailable to us. We sadly cannot continue showing it to you since we're unable to actually spectate it with all the means we tried, but we can't. And I'm sorry to tell you that this current series will have to be restreamed or at least replayed for us as spectating on a later date. So very very sorry and sad to tell you this, but it's not working, and we have nothing to change that sadly. Yeah, next week, or at least, sorry, not next week, later on this week, we will try to resteam the current series. So at least the current game, the second game, possibly a third. If Ape TNN goes to a third, we will also try to stream the other series, the winners bracket, who has also been played today, which is CC versus CBS. The result might have been spoiled to you already or could be visible somewhere, sadly. We will try to restream that series as well. So give you the results of both later this week in a second stream. Yeah, it's that's sadly all for us today now, and I'd like you to wish you a very nice day. Thank you for watching, and also sorry to disappoint you, both you and ourselves, with being unable to continue the stream because of the spectator client. We will hopefully see you later this week when we try to restream the later games of the current APE versus TNN series, as well as the CC versus CBS series. But for right now, have a very nice day and see you later this week.